So question 20 says find the area of the shape to the right there. So they want us to find this color area. So this color area, this blue, is kind of an irregular shape. But what we should be able to pick up on is by creating smaller shapes, I can partition, if you will. So right here, we kind of see that if I cut it across this way and cut it across this way, what you should see now is a rectangle that's 6.7 by 7. So the rectangle, we know the formula for area is length times width. So we know we call it 7 times 6.7. Usually the longer side is the length and the shorter side is the width, but it doesn't really matter who you call length and width. Now, what we do have is two half circles. So two half circles actually make a whole circle. So the area of a circle is defined by pi times the radius squared. Now remember, the radius is halfway across a circle. So if I draw a circle here, notice that if I put the two halves together, this becomes the diameter. So notice that the 7 is actually the diameter. But if I divide that by 2, that becomes the radius. So on our calculator, if we go 7 divided by 2, that should be what, 3.5? 3.5 becomes our radius. So what we can do is we actually can go this radius squared times pi, usually is how I do it. So I would have 3.5 squared times then pi. Or again, we can use 3.14 sometimes, just depends on the situation here. So it looks like there's two areas that we have to figure out. So the first one is the 7 times the 6.7. That's going to give me the area of the rectangle. And then to find the area of the circle, we have this 3.5 squared. That's the radius. And then we can multiply that by pi. So if I hit second up arrow, I can put 3.5 squared pi in there. That gives me that. So what I can do is add these together. So what I can do is I actually can highlight the 46.9, hit enter, and then hit the plus sign, and then go up here and highlight the 38 point something, hit enter. And then if I hit enter again, it'll add them together for me and get 83.38 something. So I don't know how far around this one. Let me pause for a second, see where the rounding was. So when it came to rounding, our directions said round to the nearest tenth. So it's either going to be 85.3 or 85.4. But since there's this 8 here, that tells me we're closer to 85.4. So 85.4 is our answer. But since we're talking about area, remember area is measured in squares. And since you're going to measure in centimeters, we have then square centimeters. So we put a little cm with the 2 raised to it. So 85.4 square centimeters would be our answer. So notice how we had to actually find the area of a rectangle, which is a 7 by 6.7, and then to find the area of the circle, because remember, two halves make a whole circle. But our formula says we had to find the radius. But unfortunately, the 7 was the diameter, so we had to divide that by 2 to get the radius, but we still got to square that and multiply by pi, and that gave us this 38.48 number. So once we add those two together, that gives us our total area of 85.4 square centimeters.